So imagine stepping out of like a pressurized airlock.
Okay, setting the scene.
Right. You take this huge deep breath of that really sharp, cold Alaskan air. You're standing at the Homer Field Station, and right in front of you is this heavy metal door that just reads, "The Archive."
It sounds super restricted.
Exactly. And we're doing a deep dive into the archive today because, well, the science you are about to do in Bioforge, it didn't just magically drop out of the sky into a textbook.
Oh, definitely not. It's actually a super long, kind of messy history of people noticing strange patterns, making mistakes, arguing, and, finally piecing together enough evidence to figure things out.
Yeah, and when you step into this archive, you're basically walking into a museum of those exact moments.
Right. You're looking at the very points in time when our whole understanding of the world completely shifted.
But I do wonder sometimes, like, why even bother looking at old explanations that we know for a fact turned out to be wrong?
That's a fair question.
Because if we know the answer now, looking backward feels a bit like, well, it's like exploring a giant dark cave with only a tiny pocket flashlight.
Yeah, you only see what the beam actually hits.
Exactly. You only see a few rocks, so of course you're going to think the cave is small.
I love that flashlight analogy. That is exactly how we need to think about this. Because when we look at past scientists, the goal is never to laugh at them for being wrong.
No, not at all.
Right. Their explanations made complete sense based on what their tiny flashlights illuminated at the time. They were working with the absolute best tools and observations they had. Their flashlights just, weren't very bright yet.
So when you are digging through the archive for yourself, you have to ask yourself what those people thought was happening and, like, what they could actually observe.
Yeah, what evidence backed them up and what little clues just didn't quite fit the picture.
And by figuring out how those past thinkers eventually built a better flashlight to see the missing pieces, we learn how to tackle the problem sitting right in front of us today.
Because science only moves forward when people are willing to test an explanation, challenge it, and replace it when better evidence shows up.
I always wonder what actually forces that change, though. I mean, my mind goes straight to some massive leap in technology.
Oh, for sure, like inventing a microscope.
Yeah, like someone invents a microscope and suddenly we realize the water we drink is full of invisible microorganisms.
Which is terrifying the first time you see it, by the way.
Right. But the technology actually reveals a whole new physical world that forces us to literally rewrite the rules of what causes disease.
I mean, technology is a massive driver, but it's definitely not the only reason our understanding changes.
Wait, really? What else is there?
Well, often it's simply a matter of asking a different question, or maybe observing something for a much longer time, or even talking to someone with a completely different knowledge system.
Oh, like evidence that one group just totally ignored might be the exact thing another group has used for generations.
Exactly. We see that a lot with traditional ecological knowledge. Take the Tlingit stone weirs in Alaska, for example.
Oh, the river structures, right?
Yeah, these are 11,110-year-old structures built in the rivers. For thousands of years, people watched how the water flowed and how the salmon moved.
That is a lot of continuous observation.
Right. And they figured out exactly how to build and tweak these stone walls generation after generation to catch just enough fish without ever wiping out the population.
So no microchips, no satellites, just deep, careful observation over a really long time.
Yep. And this kind of new evidence, whether it comes from ancient practices or modern technology, is constantly refining our world.
Like how genetics revealed exactly how traits are inherited.
Or how someone finding a fossilized sea creature at the very top of a mountain completely shattered the old idea that the Earth's surface never changes.
Proving those mountains used to be ocean floors. It's wild. So if the entire history of science is really just a long record of people updating their notes when they find new clues, that brings us straight to what you are doing right now in your field journal.
You're creating your own archive.
You really are. The field journal is basically the bridge between what you see out in the Alaskan environment and what eventually goes into your final scientific report.
It's your third space. It's where you negotiate your own understanding. As your thinking evolves, the journal captures that shift.
Which is exactly why we use routines like the I notice, I wonder. It reminds me of framework. It forces you to write down the weird little details that might not make sense yet.
And it's why your sketches need to follow the ABC rubric.
Ah, yes. Accurate, big, and colorful.
Right, because if you draw something tiny and messy and someone else opens your archive in 50 years to see what you observed,
A tiny gray smudge won't help them at all.
not at all. An observation is only as valuable as how clearly it's documented. And in Bioforge, you are going to revise your models and explanations constantly.
Which is totally fine, by the way. It isn't a sign of failure.
No, revision is the actual required work. Real scientists do not hide their crossed-out mistakes. They embrace them because those mistakes led to the real answer.
They don't just erase the messy parts to pretend they knew the answer all along.
Definitely not.
Which kind of leaves me thinking, if our current explanations are entirely shaped by the flashlights we happen to hold today, what invisible evidence is just waiting around us in the dark for future 7th graders to discover?
Evidence that will completely change the textbooks all over again.
Exactly. That is the ultimate question waiting for you the next time you step out of that airlock into the sharp Alaskan air.
Every scientific explanation has a history. Every investigation leaves a record. In Bioforge, we preserve the receipts.